Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the Coast Star, the official newspaper of the Borough of Belmar, and the Asbury Park Press on December 4, 2019, and notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building. To keep our residents safe and to abide by the latest state regulations and CDC information, we are bringing this meeting to you through Zoom. This meeting will run just like any other regular council meeting. Our multimedia director will be the Zoom administrator throughout the meeting. You will still be able to comment during the public comment sessions. When the time comes, you will click on the raise hand button and we will unmute your mic one at a time so you may speak. Please state your name and address before you speak, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, April.
If everybody could join me in saluting the flag of our great nation.
Brother,
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody can just join me in a moment of silence for our troops, their families, all our first responders, and especially our healthcare workers. Thank you. Next, we had a proclamation for our Municipal Clerks Week, and Councilman Juan has that, so as soon as she comes, we'll have her read that. We're going to move on to workshop session. Workshop, we've been working really hard with this pandemic. Nice weekend over the weekend, and it really brought a lot of things to light about how many people came into our town for the 2 days. We tried our task force, and we're going to be making some adjustments for that. And there's definitely some changes that we have to make as far as deterring people from coming to town. I think we're going to have to shift a little bit and concentrate on the social distancing, and especially with Ocean Avenue and all the pedestrian traffic. So we're going to be looking at all that this week, and Ed Kirschenbaum, our business administrator, will bring you up to date on a few other things we've been doing. Ed?
Concerned about the town, the COVID-19 situation, what we're trying to do to restrict the violation of the executive order for the essential travel and stay-at-home order. So we continue to make all the phone calls to our residents and anybody that contacts us via email or phone to let them know where we're at. We're working closely with the Office of Emergency Management and with Chief Scott of the Belmar Police Department to make sure that we monitor what's been happening in town during the nice weather and every day. So we continue to have meetings with the Monmouth County Office of Emergency Management. We continue to have meetings with Freehold Director Unknown of the Monmouth County Board of Chosen Freeholders regards to the beach towns, of what changes will be made in the immediate future in regards to the beach opening and the boardwalk. So we continue to work with all our counterparts from Seabright all the way down to Manasquan in regards to where we're at with the beach. As I've said in the past, this situation changes hour by hour, day by day, and we continue to wait for orders and information from the governor's office.
Thank you, Ed. Just to add to that, I know that we've had a lot of emails from a lot of the different residents, and I can't stress this enough, that everybody has to do what they feel their necessary needs are for their family. I mean, we're going to have we have people coming in. The governor's made it perfectly clear that we cannot deter people from coming into our town, using the beaches. So if you feel that, wear masks, gloves, stay at home, whatever you need to do. And our police department will be handling, and our task force will be handling everything else that's on the street. But I can't stress this enough, because the emails that we've been getting is try to stop everybody from coming into town, barricade the town off. And I get it. We're all frustrated, but we cannot do that. The governor's made it perfectly clear. We cannot deter the people from coming in. And it's the same thing with the Belmar residents going to other towns. And we wouldn't want every other town barricaded off where we can't get groceries or anything like that. And a lot of people tell me, well, that's a whole different story. We have people coming in for the beach, but we have to treat the beach just like it's going to be a big supermarket. And if we start to see a big problem on there, we're going to limit the people that are coming and try to contain it down at the beach. But like I said, I can't stress it enough. Every family is different, what they need to do and the level that they need to take as far as safety is, social distancing, masks, gloves, and we're doing a lot of work with our task force. So hopefully by Memorial Day weekend, we should have this down. Most of the mayors on the Jersey Shore are opening for Memorial Day weekend. And if we all stick together and open together, we'll have the social distancing that we need. Our problem is if a couple towns don't want to open and we're the only ones open, everybody's coming here. So we're watching that daily as we come up to the summer. But as of right now, all the mayors seem to be on board, but with the opening on Memorial Day weekend. So we're going to take it day to day. But hey, you got something else?
Yeah, there's a lot of confusion out there in regards to executive orders. Executive orders, it's not legislation. It's not a law. It's an executive order to ask people to stay at home or essential travel only. The other thing there's a lot of confusion about is masks. You do not have to wear a mask outside. It's all up to preference. If you're in closed confines of a supermarket or you're shopping, you will have to wear a mask based on the executive order. But I've gotten calls from people that individuals are not wearing masks on the boardwalk or on the beach. I'm sorry, in the area of the boardwalk and the beach, or Silver Lake or Como Lake. You do not have to wear a mask outside. It's everybody's preference, like the mayor said. You have to take personal responsibility for your own actions and for your own safety. If you're at risk, you got to take the necessary precautions. So I know there'll be a lot of questions, and we'll be answering any questions that come that way.
Thank you. Does any of the council have any questions before we move forward?
I have a couple questions, and I realize that this situation is evolving rapidly and things change, and I realize a lot of what we do also depends on what the other shore towns do on the weekend. But I was just wondering if the Office of Emergency Management can outline any more if we are able to open the beach on Memorial Day weekend, what a beach plan would look like and how we would plan to enforce social distancing. Some ideas of things I've read in other areas is setting the beach up into zones and only allowing so many people per zone, not selling daily badges, only allowing seasonal badge access, or limiting the number of daily badges that are sold on a day. Another option I hear is limiting the number of people at each street that would be allowed to enter on that street. So those types of things, like, I know we've eliminated parking on Ocean Avenue, but for those who are planning to enter the beach, like, how do we enforce that social distancing and how do we limit the number of people on the beach so that we don't end up with massive crowds that get out of hand and we're unable to control?
I'll start with that, Jim, first. One of the things we've been having a lot of meetings just on this issue. A lot of towns are doing, they're going to try to do different things, and there's no right or wrong answer for anything. Our plan is to have a task force on the beach, and we're going to be monitoring hourly. So if we start to see beaches that are starting to become a problem, we're going to shut them down. The other issue is the bathrooms and how we're going to handle the bathrooms with social distancing in the bathrooms. We're going to have to hire more personnel if we open up the bathrooms and let so many people in DPW is going to have people standing by to clean them every 15 minutes. We've reached out to the county, and they are going to give us extra ticket booths so we don't have two people in each booth. So they're separated, the ticket booths. So all this is in the planning stages right now, but we put the task force in place last weekend to start trying it out. There's some adjustments we got to make, but it's going to be made up of lifeguard staff. Well, not so much the lifeguard staff, but the administrative staff, the beach director, police department, Office of Emergency Management. So they'll be monitoring hourly, and we're going to do basically just like it's a big building or a supermarket. We start to see that it cannot be social distance to our approval. Those beaches will be shut down, and either they're going to be moved to another beach, or it would close the beach completely if we think it's just getting too much. So we're going to play it by ear because we don't know what Memorial Day weekend is going to look like. If people are going to stay home, if they're going to come, we have no idea. So we're going to be monitoring it hour by hour. I'm going to let Eddie talk a little bit more on it, but there has been a lot of discussion on how we're going to handle different things. And it's basically what we had seen going on over this past weekend to try to make our adjustments. So, but Ed, you want to add to that?
Thanks, Mayor. We continuously meet in regards to what our plan is. First of all, so we don't put our employees and our residents or anybody else at risk. Summer camp has been canceled. The Belmar Junior Lifeguard's been canceled. The beach playgrounds, even though the beach will open, will remain closed until further notice. And like the mayor said, this is an hour by hour, day by day. Social distancing guidelines is what our plan is. So we have personal protection equipment for all our beach attendants. We've changed procedures in regards to everybody that works for the town will be supplied with personal protection to include face coverings, gloves, and hand sanitizer. Like the mayor said, we've got additional ticket booths, so we don't put two in a booth. They'll be working side by side so as not to be in close quarters. And they'll also be supplied with the personal protective gear. There'll be no longer a hand-to-hand type of situation with ticket sales where the staff has to take a ticket from a beachgoer. That process will be changed where it will be dropped into a bin or a basket. There'll be lines clearly delineated for our gate attendants who are working the beach for a 6-foot separation of beachgoers. The task force consisting of the police department, the Office of Emergency Management, Department of Public Works, the beach staff. We want our lifeguards to keep an eye on the water. And with a chief lifeguard, there's going to be every beach protected with lifeguards, one lifeguard on the stand high, one medium, and one on the beach. So we'll have all our beaches properly protected pursuant to the guidelines that the lifeguards follow. So we're changing our procedures. There's going to be clear markings of separation for any lines of people that are going to purchase badges. We are making arrangements to get season badges picked up at Borough Hall with a call to a separate phone line for people to stop into the lobby, where we'll have one of our members meet them in the lobby to give them their season badge they've purchased online. We'll continue to have the monitors of the police department as well as the Office of Emergency Management on the beach and on the boardwalk. We're removing benches from the boardwalk for a short time until this is over to make sure the gathering aspect of social distancing is adhered to. So we have hundreds of benches that we're going to remove and take them off the boardwalk. There will be no bicycles permitted on the boardwalk at any time. There'll be no dogs or on the beach or on the boardwalk at any time. And we're trying to keep our staff safe. We're trying to make sure that we close down non-essential functions so we don't have that influx in. We're going to utilize social media to let everybody knows what the rules are. There'll be signage at each ticket booth and at each badge location where social distancing guidelines will be adhered to, or we'll be asking people to remove themselves from the beach. The restrooms are a big issue. We're going to hire additional staff along with Department of Public Works, where we'll have a sort of a people that will not stand in line to utilize the restrooms. We'll make sure that we get people in orderly fashion with social distancing guidelines in place. We also have a sprayer that we will spray. The Department of Public Works will have somebody there on scene, as along with the medical grade UV light that we will utilize during the day to make sure that the bathrooms are sanitary and hopefully germ-free. We talked to all our counterparts, like I said earlier, in regards to the beach. We will monitor each gate. We don't want to close off gates or beaches because then you get an effect of everybody corralling into one spot, and we don't want that to happen. So by protecting our gate attendants and our employees, and by hourly monitoring the situation, if we need to move some people to another beach, that's what we will do. It's going to be strict enforcement down there by the police department. Chief Scott is working on a plan now to do so. So we're trying to take the best practices that we can to make sure that we protect everybody. Like the mayor said, the governor has issued that we cannot close the beach down to residents only. It has to be open to the public. We will monitor beach badge sales, and we will actually monitor the flow onto the beach and move people around accordingly. So we have a plan that we're putting in place. We're working with the other towns to make sure that we're all on the same page, and what affects one town affects us all. So that's what we're working on.
Ed, do we have a sense of like what a maximum safe amount or number of people on the beach would be? I realize it's relative as to, people spread out, or what a maximum number of beach daily sales would be to control sort of the crowds, or does that really not come into play here?
It really doesn't come into play. It's going to be, listen, it's going to be common sense approach to just check out the beach to see how people are working together. We will have a drone up to monitor the beach, to take live time video back to our command center to make sure that we get a bird's eye view of what we're going to be looking at. Because sometimes if you're just down at the sand level, it's not going to really tell you a whole lot. So we're going to try to use technology to make sure that we can properly get a good visual of our beach. It's tough to actually put a number on it. You have people that are going to be driving from wherever and expect the beach to be open, but we're going to utilize social media. We're going to utilize hour by hour surveillance by several disciplines of Belmar agencies. And listen, this is all new. It changes hour by hour, day by day. The distancing on the beach this weekend, of course, the roadway was mobbed with people, which is an unsafe situation, the closure of the boardwalk. But what we did find out is people were listening to the direction of the police officers for social distancing on the beach. So that's important to keep people comfortable that way. So listen, we're gonna change as we see what we have coming into the town.
And I think another factor here is that, usually during the high season, we think of crowds during the weekends, but with 1 million people not working, you get nice days. I guess we need to be prepared for any day of the week to be able to handle these potential situations, right?
This task force is just not weekend based. This is going to be, you got to remember that our beach usually closed down after the Memorial Day weekend for those 10 or 12 days from June until the schools closed. We don't have schools closed. We have everybody home from college. We have schools that are closed now until next year, next September. So this puts a whole other caveat into what our planning stages are. So we have to plan accordingly every single day, like it's a weekend.
Thank you.
I only had a couple of questions. It sounds like to make this plan work, if we're going to be able to use all the gates, which I absolutely think we should, we're going to basically take the barricades down and the boardwalk will be open before Memorial Day. Okay,
Yes.
that sounds like the only way we can do it. The other thing what are our thoughts as far as the parking on the east side of Ocean Avenue where people usually pay? Are we going to keep it closed the way it's closed now, or maybe every other space is available, or what? Have we had any thoughts about that?
Yes, we have. And we're talking about that now. We have a problem of parking, as you are well aware, in Belmar.
Mm-hmm.
With We don't want our residential streets flooded, although they will be flooded with vehicles.
Yeah.
A way to stop that influx. But to take parking spaces away, I know that the plan for parking statewide really deals with parking lots and things of that nature. So there's not a crowd in a parking lot area. We don't have that. Our parking doesn't matter if it's on east side of Ocean Avenue, west side of Ocean Avenue, within the residential area. It's all the same type of spacing. So it's foolish for us not to have the parking there. People are going to get here no matter what. We have to be prepared for it. It cost us to run our beach to make sure we prepare for the lifeguards to be there. So it's also a cost factor, and it's a safety factor, and it's a moral obligation to make sure we staff things properly. So
I agree.
we're looking at opening up and putting in place the Park Mobile app. We've done away with kiosks, which again, it's a more of a modernized app that people can utilize their smartphones either by the app or by a phone number that they call on and have a person instruct them on how to pay for the parking down there. So at the end of the day, we're getting into the technical world here of utilizing apps for payment for parking down there.
So one of our jobs is going to be to put up the signage that tells people how to do that. Yes.
We've already started putting the signage up.
Good.
If you ride along Ocean Avenue, you'll notice that we've blacked out the numbers and we've added the Park Mobile stencil. We've also putting signs up to prepare ourselves for Memorial Day opening and hopefully get everything on a clear path.
Okay, one other question. What about the residents only parking that we have on some areas? Are we going to maintain that, or are we thinking that's not going to be possible because of the influx of people?
The governor has indicated that we can't allow residents only on our beach and within our jurisdictional towns.
Okay.
I know people talk about Spring Lake and Spring Lake Heights. Spring Lake and Spring Lake Heights, their rule and their order is no one can park on the street.
No one, right.
Anybody else. So that's legal. If you restrict it to no one, then that's legal. You cannot just restrict it to resident parking only.
Okay.
So it has proven ineffective. People move the barrels. I know they've issued about 60 summonses this weekend.
Oh, good.
Has been on the phone all day with phone calls in regards to who was a resident and who wasn't a resident. So all we're doing is moving the problem to different locations. If we maintain, proper social distancing on the beaches, like everybody said, they're going to be here. People are going to be here, and it's almost an impossibility to enforce.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's actually that makes a lot of sense to me. I just want to remind everybody, it's like it could rain. It could rain.
Yes,
thank you. That's all I got.
Thank you,
Tom, but the only thing is, we have this pandemic, so I can guarantee the sun will be shining bright. We're praying for rain.
Yeah, that'll be our luck. That's all right. We'll deal with it.
So I actually have a couple things. One is we mentioned technology as far as Park Mobile, and I'm wondering if we've been approached by any vendors that could potentially do the beach badge ticketing in a similar way. And if that and I understand that that's probably not something that we can get done immediately, but maybe something we should be considering for a long-term solution. I'm wondering if there's been any sort of activity or discussion on that front.
there has, and we've had ongoing dialogue with a couple of vendors in regards to app-related daily sales. We actually visited that before this COVID-19 even occurred, just to see what we could do. We've also visited the prospect of doing away with daily badges and going to the wristbands. So we're in an ongoing dialogue to see what works best. There's going to be a lot of changes based on how we do business, either by app or by changing the badge situation to wristbands. So we're actively pursuing that to see what we can move forward with. We've already purchased the daily badges at a major expense. We did that before this situation had occurred. So we're trying to do our due diligence in regards to whatever we can utilize to, either badge or app.
Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you. And then I guess I'll just bring it up because I know it's going to be coming. There's been a lot of discussion about whether or not the boardwalk should be open. And I believe that's ultimately up to OEM. And, I'm wondering at this point, what is OEM's perspective or the criteria that they're utilizing to evaluate whether or not the boardwalk should be open, and if there's a change forthcoming anytime soon.
What's that? Yeah, well, this is what our plan is. I traveled along with the.
I know it's a tough one, Ed. I'm sorry.
That's not a tough one. Listen, here's the deal. I traveled through Asbury Park all the way down to Manasquan the past weekend, along with other supervisors for Belmar. Every single town has had the same problem that we've had. Okay. Bradley Beach on Sunday decided to open up their boardwalk. We are going to get somebody seriously hurt. It doesn't make sense to me or anybody else, I believe, to have people walking in the street with the cars that are down there, the influx of cars up and down Ocean Avenue. So we're going to get more people hurt with a vehicle if we don't open up the boardwalk. So if we put our task force down there and practice social distancing guidelines and make sure that people adhere to what the executive orders say, we plan on opening up our boardwalk sooner rather than later, just to get everything ready. That's one of the reasons why we're taking off the benches, hundreds of benches that we're asking the Department of Public Works to move, so we can adhere to the gathering clause of social distancing. So at the end of the day, we want people to be far enough spaced to stay off the street. That's why we're keeping bicycles off the boardwalk. They're not allowed at any time, so we can properly space people. So that's the plan. The plan is, and in talking to the towns today with Freeholder Unknown, and from Seabright all the way down to Manasquan, a lot of the mayors, a lot of the administrators, a lot of the Office of Emergency Managers are planning on just doing that to try to get back into the safety of anybody that's going down there. We've done research in regards to the percentage of people and the influx of people coming into town. And there's a basis per 1,000 residents of infectious rate. And at 18 right now in the borough of Belmar, we're at a 3.22. We're actually in the area of the third or fourth lowest out of the 53 municipalities in Monmouth County. So for all of those naysayers that had called in and said the influx of individuals within the borough of Belmar, because we didn't shut our streets down to residents only, and the influx onto our boardwalk and onto our beach, if you really look at the facts indicate that we are, based on number 22 infection per 1,000 residents, we are fourth out of 53 municipalities in Monmouth County. So we're going by facts and not hysteria.
And I looked at those numbers too, and the county total is what, 10.2?
10.2.
Right, and we're
10.22.
3 times less than that. So
yes,
yeah, that's
a credit to everybody. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that if people are at risk, stay home and protect your families and take personal responsibility. So listen, it's almost an impossibility to stop the influx of individuals to the Jersey Shore in any town.
Thank you.
Mark, can you hear me?
Yes, Pat, go ahead.
Oh, hello, everybody. Sorry I was late.
Hi, Pat.
I have a proclamation to read if you would like me to, but before I get to that, I missed just a little bit at the beginning of the meeting, so I don't know if you discussed it or not, but people are concerned about the rentals, about the group rentals. Any idea of how we can protect ourselves then? I had actually 2 phone calls today concerned about that.
Yeah, Eddie will talk about that in a minute. We're still getting direction from the governor. We still have them held off until Memorial Day weekend, but code enforcement and Ed's working on it, so I'll let him talk about that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Like the mayor said, we're holding off starting inspections, but nobody can move in until Memorial Day, the Memorial Day weekend. Everybody's got to be mindful that code enforcement and the police department will respond, and we're relying on our residents to call for any overcrowding issues. And what people don't understand is again, and I've said it to residents that call, there's a piece of paper there called the Constitution that does not allow code enforcement or police officers or anybody for that nature to just barge into your home. Even if there's a call of overcrowding, people are still protected. But there are ways to contact the police department and code enforcement if there's a problem in your neighborhood, to have them respond to investigate it and make sure that they're adhering to the CO that has been issued for the rental property. So with our community policing program and with our neighbors making sure that people are adhering to, the COs that have been assigned to the residents, that's what we're trying to do. We're still waiting on, like I said, the governor to give us some more information, but to restrict rentals, the legality of that is not on our side right now.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else under workshop before we move on? Everybody good? Okay, Pat?
Yes.
Read our Municipal Clerk's Week proclamation.
Okay, proclamation, 51st Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week. Whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at all levels, and whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, referring equal service to all. Whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. Whereas professional municipal clerk continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk. Now, therefore, you, Mark Walsifer, Mayor of the Borough of Belmar, do recognize the week of May 3rd through May 9th, 2020 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerk, April Claudia, and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. Congratulations, April. You do a fantastic job.
Yes, April.
Thank
Thank you. Wouldn't know what to do without you. Thank you, and congratulations.
I second. Yep.
Pat?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else.
No, I just said, thank you. Congratulations to April. She's phenomenal.
All right. We'll move on to petitions. If anyone has one, you could email it or drop it in the mailbox at Borough Hall. And we'll move on to approval of the minutes. April?
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting?
Motion?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Okay. Reports of council. Councilman Corvelli.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't think we mentioned in the proclamation that April has actually earned her certified municipal clerk designation. So congratulations on that. I'm not exactly sure what that all means, but it sounds like a great achievement. So congratulations on that.
thank you.
I don't have much to report. Still, all of my boards and committees are somewhat on hold. I do have a number of things coming over the next couple of weeks. Planning board, namely. But one thing I did want to talk about is April did set up the new ordinance portal on our website, and I think that's all linked in now. And you can it's an improvement above what we previously had on the website. So it's easy to find ordinances and the ordinances and also the new regulations and ordinances that have yet to be actually put into the code. So thank you for working on that. And, I think that's an improvement on our site. The only other thing that I have here is I know we have an ordinance or a resolution. Maybe it's an ordinance, I forget, but to limit and or restrict parking of large commercial vehicles. I know that a number of people throughout town have had issues with that, and I think this is a great change for the town. And that's really all that I have. So that's my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Kraken?
Thank you, Mayor. The Shade Tree Commission, under the direction of Greg Glesman, successfully celebrated Arbor Day recently by planting a tree in front of the Belmar Elementary School. Fourth grade students there were able to participate in that event virtually. The event was videotaped. There was an educational component and got some nice coverage and tap into. So I wanted to thank the Shade Tree Commission for all their efforts and still doing the best they can to celebrate a more than century-old tradition here in the United States with Arbor Day. The Belmar Housing Authority had its meeting last evening. As far as the administration knows, there are no residents with positive cases in the building. Several civic and other businesses, or civic and charitable organizations and other businesses have been delivering meals to the residents. They greatly appreciate that. The roof is going to be replaced and increased cleaning and sanitation procedures have been implemented in that building to keep residents and the staff safe there. So with that, that's my report. I do see that I just looked at the calendar. We do have another meeting before Memorial Day weekend. I understand there's a lot of changing dynamics, but I think it would be helpful for just us as council members who get calls and texts and emails from residents, if to the greatest extent possible, realizing that things are flexible and things could change. We could have a firmer outline of the beachfront plan so that we're all on the same page and in the know. And if we get questions, we can have a document to refer to as to what's being done there. I personally would find that helpful.
Yeah, we'll have an operational plan ready to go, and then everybody will get emailed on it. So we'll have the full operational plan once it's all set.
Great, thanks.
All right. Councilwoman Wan?
Hold on, please. I have to switch you over. 1 second, please. Councilwoman Wan, you're up. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Thank you, Mayor. Before I start, I'd just like to say thanks to all our teachers. This is National Teachers Week, and what a great job they've been doing with our students. I know it's really, really hard. Teachers have a tough job as it is, and I want to thank all of them for all that they do for their children. Big shout out to our teachers. All of my committees also, we haven't had any meetings yet. Hopefully next week we're going to start. We're having a little technical trouble, as seems to be my trouble also tonight. Also with community policing, we've had some changes in some of the people who are with the zone chiefs and block captains. We have had a new police officer So we're getting those things straightened out. But as far as everybody else is concerned in community policing, everything is the same. Nothing has changed. So next week we'll be reaching out to everybody with new information, because this summer is bringing, with COVID-19, this summer is bringing changes, as you've heard the mayor and Mr. Kirschenbaum talk about. So this is all new territory for us. So we'll have more information, what we're going to do, what to look for, but things will pretty much be the same. Thank you very much, Mayor. That's it.
Thank you. Council President Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also want to echo Councilman Carvelli's comments about the website, that it is so much better, so much better. And if anyone wants to find an ordinance or a resolution, anything like that, it's really so much easier to find than it used to be. And I also want to congratulate all the teachers, my former colleagues. I know Councilwoman Wan's a former teacher. My heart goes out to you and the job that you're doing. The only thing, I don't have any committees meeting either, but I needed something to get my mind off of the pandemic. So I participated in a webinar from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection about climate change. That really didn't make me feel any better, but they're starting a new program called NJ Pact, New Jersey Protecting Against Climate Threats. Now, this is the beginning of a year-long process. Basically, what we're going to be seeing is it's really going to affect our land use boards more than anything, because they're going to come in, the buzzword is resiliency. They're going to come in with recommendations and requirements that we take into account changes in how we measure stormwater for our stormwater management plan, what kind of materials we want people to use when they're building, if they're in a flood-prone area. It may be changing the elevation requirements depending on the flooding. They have the usual charts and projections about temperatures going up and things like that, and odds. It's a model, just like all the different models we've been seeing about this other that we're going through. But basically, the one agreement is it's going to be a lot warmer. It's going to be warmer for sure. Nobody knows really how much, but it's definitely going to be warmer. That's going to affect our weather. We're going to have more severe weather. We're going to have droughts punctuated by really, really heavy rains, which means we have to think about our infrastructure to deal with the kind of thing that we don't deal with all the time now. We've seen it, but it's going to become much more regular, things like that. They're planning on having final recommendations for legislation and regulation probably around the end of the year. And there should be plenty of opportunity for public input. I'm sure they'll do, if they can't do in-person meetings, they'll do Zoom meetings. And there's a way for people to put in. If you go to the DEP website, let me just double check this here. It's www.nj.gov/DEP. And then you can put in NJPACT and you'll get the information about what they're looking at. There's, it's a nice presentation. It's not very long. I thought the webinar was handled very well. You could hear the speakers. They were informative. They didn't talk too much. They were really good. And that's basically it. The rest of it's very technical. I don't want to bore anybody. Thank you. That's my report.
Thank you. I just have a couple things. I really want to thank all of our residents. I mean, when I'm around town, I see them doing the social distancing. They're wearing masks in the stores that are open. They're really stepping up to try to combat this crazy virus that we have. But, all the residents in our town have been doing a great job, as well as our police department, DPW. I mean, what can I say? We're putting, every time Mike talks to me, I think he wants to kill me because we're giving him more work to do. But, I mean, he never says no and they get it done. So I really want to thank DPW, the lifeguard staff that's getting ready to go, our beach director, trying to make all these changes, and people are not used to a lot of changes, but I got to thank them. Our teachers especially, I mean, they're out every single day delivering food to the kids that are in need around town. They're doing a great job every day. And, as the weeks go on and they continue to do it every single day, I know it's got to be a little bit rough for them, but they are out there doing it, and hopefully they're having fun doing it. But with that being said, I got to thank the Shillelaghs. They had a whole crew go over and feed all the healthcare workers at Jersey Shore the other day. So everybody in town is, the Dolce Vita is feeding state police, police department, fire department. So all our businesses are stepping up. So I want to thank them. Just a couple other things. We're looking at, and I don't know if it'll work or not, but you know, as we get into warmer weather, maybe some of these meetings that we're passing by, like Harbor Commission or Shade Tree or anything like that, might be able to be done in an outdoor pavilion with social distancing and have some of the meetings that way. But you know, we're taking a look at that. So a lot of different things going on, but basically we're living this pandemic daily and not getting much other things done. So, but yeah, I'd like to thank everybody because it's been a tough couple of weeks, and that's all I have. So we'll go on to public session on any of the resolution items.
Okay, everybody, stand by, please. Again, they'll have the hands on your tablet or device. On the bottom, you can raise your hand and speak. Stand by. I see one hand. Sarah, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey,
Please state your name, where you're from.
sure. This is Sarah Tantillo. I live at 505 13th Avenue. Just two quick suggestions with regard to the boardwalk. One would be if we could have additional bike racks, that would be terrific.
Sarah, this is for just the consent agenda for resolutions. So those kind of questions will be at the end of the meeting for the public comment. We'll keep you up there, and but right now we're just taking questions on our resolution items.
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm going to lower your hand. Just when it's your time to speak, just raise your hand again. Thank you. Stand by, please. Stand by. Okay, and then we have Eugene Kramer. Are you there, Eugene? Stand by. I'm muting Eugene.
This is Eugene Kramer, 4th Avenue.
Hi, Mr. Kramer.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have a question regarding the resolution with the settlement with Bird Construction. That was for the Lake Como pipe project. My question is, does the pipe work as it should? In other words, was the work actually completed and the pipe functional?
I believe we're just waiting on the flapper valve and the hydraulics for the flapper valve. But as far as what we have on the resolution tonight, we'll be talking about that before we vote on it. But it is a settlement with Hannon Construction, who finished and completed his work. So we'll be discussing that. I think we have to go into executive session for that, April, and then we'll come out and vote on it. But yes, it was for Lake Como outfall pipe, and there's only one little thing that has to be done that doesn't include Mr. Hannon.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure the pipe worked without intervention by the Public Works Department. I had taken a look at those plans long ago, and that the flapper valve combination with the pipe, that's supposed to be, function by itself without a Public Works having to babysit it. And I just want to make sure that that the work was actually completed and the pipe functional. That's all. That's the end of my comment. Over.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, just say the next. Stand by. Eugene, thank you, Eugene. Okay, looking for more hands. We have 105 attendees. Thank you so much. So it takes me a little bit to make sure no one has a hand up. And the people are muted. Okay. And I see no hands right now. No.
Thank you. April?
Can I have a motion to close the public session?
I'll make a motion.
Motion.
In a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then can I have a motion to adopt the resolution as listed on the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
Councilman McCracken?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vaughn?
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Okay. Next, we have first reading and introduction of ordinance 2020-24. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 19, Section 16 regarding parking of certain trucks, vehicles, and trailers. This is just first reading and introduction. We have a motion to approve.
Motion.
A second?
Second.
Second.
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
Councilman McCracken? Councilwoman Vaughn?
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer?
Yes. Okay, now we're going into public session. Sarah, now ask your question.
Stand by. I have a Lisa, stand by. Lisa, are you there? 1 second.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Hello.
What's their name and where you from?
This is Lisa from Fifth Avenue in Belmar. Great to join you tonight. I just wanted to go back just for a second regarding the boardwalk being open. Obviously, I am an avid runner, and I do a lot of fitness programs in Belmar. I do see that the Ocean Avenue was so crowded, and I do believe that opening up the boardwalk kind of widens the area. So when did you say that it's possible that the boardwalk would be opening again? Is that next week or Memorial Day weekend?
What we're doing is we're taking the benches off the boardwalk
Right.
so that we don't have people congregating on there. Once that task is done, we're going to be looking to open it because you are correct. There was way too many people in the street, and to try to stop them from coming into town, it's not working. So we want to get them up on the boardwalk out of the street. We're going to limit it. We're not allowing bicycles, dogs, skateboards, or anything like that. Just people walking and running. That'll be the only ones that are allowed up there, and they have to be moving. They can't hang around and worry about handling our social distancing.
Right, Mayor. So when will that be? When will the boardwalk probably be opening? Is that going to be on Memorial Day weekend?
We're trying for Friday.
Oh, that would be fabulous. And one more thing, yes, I did see a lot of families who were actually walking on the boardwalk because they were trying to find the entrances of the beach. So me as a resident, we're trying to be very nice and helpful, and said, please come off the boardwalk and let me show you where the entrances are to the beach. Some were confused, but there were some that were just trying to have their walk or glory. So I think you're doing a fabulous job, but I'm looking forward to spreading out that that walk run because I did see a couple of people running actually close to the street down by 18th Avenue at DJ's.
Yes, well, I saw it also, and that's why we have to public safety before open. That's why we're opening the boardwalk. We got to watch out for public safety besides this pandemic.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing everybody.
All right, thank you so much, Lisa. I'm putting your hand down. One moment, please. And one moment. Okay, we have Linda Sharkus, stand by. Linda, are you there? Stand by. Takes a minute for some weird reason. There it is. And Linda, you should hear me. Linda? Let's see, maybe she's on the phone again. Let's see. Linda, if you can hear me, please text me your phone number here so I can see if you're on the phone list like we did last time, and I'll come back to you. Stand by, please. Linda, again, you're not there, correct? Okay, we'll come back to you, Linda. Keep your hand up, please. Thank you. We'll come right back. Stand by. Going to Patricia. Stand by.
Hello, my name is Patricia. I live on Ocean Avenue near 10th Street. And my question is, or suggestion, is there a way that maybe there can be two-way traffic when you open up the boardwalk? In other words, or some kind of organizing which way the pedestrian flow is going. I mean, that may help as far as maintaining social distancing on the boardwalk.
Well, once the boardwalk is open, we're going to monitor that. If we have to make some adjustments, we will have to do that. But that's part of the task force, and that's what we'll be monitoring as we open things up to see what's working and what's not. So we'll be watching it close to see how the social distancing is working.
Great. And also, are you planning on opening up all of the beach entrances when you open up the boardwalk?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. One moment, please. And we're going to have Linda. We have Linda's number. Stand by. Thank you, Patricia. And we have Linda's numbers. Let's see. One moment, Linda. I'm clicking the buttons. And Linda, are you there?
Yes, I am. Could you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hi, Linda. How
I
are
want
you?
to thank everybody. I'm good. I want to take the time.
Uh-oh. What? Hold on. Oh, geez Louise. Sorry, one moment, guys. I lost her. I don't know why that happened. Stand by. You were just going to say something awesome. Hold on, please. Okay, go ahead. There you go. Linda, can you hear me?
Hi,
I'm so
Linda
sorry.
Sharkus.
Go right ahead.
Linda Sharkus, 4th Avenue. I want to take the time to thank all of you for keeping our town safe. It's easy to criticize, but it's a massive undertaking. I've listened
Thank you, Linda.
to this.
We appreciate it.
Well, you're doing a great job. I have a couple questions that are a little different from what's going on with COVID. One is, does our town have a sign ordinance for businesses?
Yes, I believe we do. Don't we, April? Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so my question is, are the wrap on the new physical therapy business on 10th Avenue going to be removed? It's engulfed the whole building with promotional product, as I see it. Since they're the second major, yeah, the one at Sovereign. They're now advertising that they're open. So
Yeah,
if that doesn't mean
they have a wrap, but I'm not sure if that gets covered under the sign ordinance or not. We'll have to check that out. But I did notice it was all wrapped.
Okay. And my second question, could you give us an update on the Jack's Tavern license transfer? Is anything happening there?
I believe they put the application in, but I think there's a little bit of complications with it in the police department, but I'm not sure. I mean, I believe it was sent to the police department for an investigation, and I haven't heard what what the process, where it is in the process. So before it comes to mayor and council for any kind of a vote, we'll know a little bit more. But right now, I think it's over to the police department for investigation.
Chief Scott, can you comment on this?
Hold on one second, Linda.
Okay.
The application was dropped off at the police department. Captain Cox is handling the investigation. Where he is at this point with it, I can't comment on, but I will get that information to the mayor and the borough administrator tomorrow. If you want to give us a call, I can let you know.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And then lastly, is there a plan for Beach House to expand and create a dining room on the second floor?
But we don't have any plan yet. If they were going to do that, I believe it would have to go to planning board first to be taken a look at, to have it taken a look at, or come to mayor and council. I don't know if it comes to mayor and council first or planning board, but we'll cross that road when it comes to it. But I haven't heard anything about that yet.
Okay, and lastly, it's what's happening to the Jack's Tavern building.
I haven't heard
have any applications come in?
They still own it. I haven't heard anything, you know, if they're going to sell it, what they're going to do with it.
Okay, so Beach House Brewery did not buy the building. They just bought the license?
I believe they bought the building. I believe they bought the building.
Yeah, they bought the building too. They definitely did. They bought the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Linda. One moment.
John, I think Sarah had a question if she's still there. She was one of the first ones up.
Let's see. What's Sarah's last name? Let's see. Let's see. Sarah Connor, you believe? Is that what we're talking about? Because her hand is not raised right now.
I'm not sure. I know you told me it was Sarah. I didn't pick up the last name.
Okay.
I think
We'll go through all the hands, and then again, whoever wants to hand out that, we'll get that going.
Okay.
Stand by. I have a Tom. Mr. Volker, are you there, sir? Stand by. I would love it if you if you hit the button, it would work. That'd be great. Stand by, please. Maybe he's on his computer. Let's see. Okay. Mr. Volker, if you're on your phone, we can try to get a text into me and we can do that, but I think you're on your phone because I don't see you talking. And it's not unmuting. Stand by, we'll come back to you, Tom. And Alexis, stand by for Alexis. Alexis, are you there?
Hello, hello. Are you able to hear me?
I hear you. Please say your name and where you're from.
Fantastic. My name is Alexis Finch. I live on 18th and wanted to bring up a couple of items that were discussed early on. The first one was asking some more questions about the use of masks. The statement was that if an individual is concerned about becoming infected, suggesting that they should wear a mask, but I wanted to bring up the issue that wearing a mask does only bring 30% protection. It is another individual wearing the mask that is able to deliver the 98.5% protection. So just to clarify that, wearing a mask, unless it is actually N95 with full PPE protocols followed, which is about a 12-page protocol, if you've all familiarized with yourselves with that. Not anyone's going to be doing that. We can't ask them to do that on the beaches. It's only when we have full compliance that people actually get that 98.5% protection. Otherwise, it is a 70% chance of contagion should an individual wearing a mask encounter someone who is COVID positive. So how are we going to be moving forward, encouraging more people to wear masks such that we get that group protection? Because otherwise I cannot go out despite wearing a mask if I suspect anyone else is going to be there not wearing one.
Well, first, we really got to focus on the social distancing. The governor has not mandated outside for people to wear masks.
Oh, I'm not, this wasn't a question about the governor. This is just about Belmar itself, since we are a destination, since it is, you know, summertime folks coming in, and we can't obviously prevent them from coming to the beaches. That's, you know, access to the coastline is something that everyone has a right to. And it's been made very clear that no town can prevent that access. I'm sure that's also to make sure that there aren't any legal precedents set, but that there are ways to still protect ourselves. It's just that it can't be, if you're afraid, stay inside, wear a mask. It needs to be, if you're afraid, everyone else should be working to protect you. And I know that we have elderly and immunocompromised individuals here. So are we telling them that they cannot exit their houses because others will not be protecting them?
The only thing we can do is we can encourage it and encourage people to do what they feel comfortable, you know, and there has to be some kind of self-control out there if you're not comfortable. You know, we cannot force everybody to wear a mask as a town, you know, so we encourage different things. We can control social distancing. We can give summonses out for social distancing.
If you can, I apologize for interrupting, but looking back at tuberculosis laws that were set in order to prevent contagion there, there is an ability to set out legal ramifications for not wearing a mask, since it is literally endangering another individual. I'm happy to leave that one there. I did also just want to clarify, as we're looking at the numbers of infection, we went from a 0.07 infection rate back end of April, and we're now up at a 0.38 infection rate, which is a 400% increase over less than a 2-week period for our population. Can you address how we're going to prevent that 400% increase from continuing?
Our business administrator will answer you on that.
Okay.
What numbers are you using to get to that? What numbers are you using?
So we have 4 cases reported, which then went up to 24 cases reported.
We have 18.
18? So
We have
that's
18.
gone back down? That's gone back down again?
Yes, it's at 18 now.
Okay, so that's still taking it up.
Residents were at a 3.22.
For how many residents?
For 1,000 residents, based where we're at 3.22. So we're down to 18 now.
Okay. I was going off of the numbers of 5,587 residents in this in Belmar. Is that an incorrect number?
No, whatever that the number is, I don't have it in front of me. If you give me a second. It's based on the population of Belmar. You take that 18 and divide it into that, and that's where you're going to come up.
I was going from the Asbury Park Press most recently released these numbers.
That's probably that Asbury Park Press, when they printed numbers the other day, they weren't accurate. Our number is 18.
So it's a little bit, it's closer to a 300% increase then.
What do you mean 300? I could tell you what we are per thousand. I don't have my calculation.
Oh, I'm discussing the rate of increase.
Our numbers are one of the lowest in Monmouth County.
Okay, yeah, we're looking at rate of increase per population as opposed to raw numbers.
You can spend it any way you want, but I'm telling you what we looked at.
All right,
everybody's got to take responsibility for themselves.
Okay, got it. So it's everyone is in it for their own. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Stand by, please.
I'm just going to leave that sitting there because we're not going to be.
One moment. All right, Gerald, I think we got you here. Hold on, please. And looking for Gerald. Gerald, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I do. Say your name and where you're from, please. Thank you.
Jerry Buckafusco, Fifth Avenue. I have a question going back to Resolution 2020-75. which was the the one designating DOPCO as a conditional redeveloper. I know at the last meeting there was an update because the time periods had passed in the resolution. Specifically in paragraph 2A, there was a 45-day limit on which they had to produce redacted contracts. And in paragraph D, there was an issue about them putting in a fund of $125,000 within 30 days of March 3rd. Can you give us an update on where that stands?
Well, as of right now, they haven't done either, so they're not the redeveloper.
So can we?
Unless they come back with something else and get updates from all the other property owners, we're not moving forward with it.
Well, is there? I'm just asking because I'm not sure. Should we not just say they're not the redevelopers and end it, or I don't see the value of leaving it open ended. I mean, what if they come back in the 30
Well,
days?
it's based on what they do with the other property owners and come back to us. I mean, we are not the driving force in this. They put the other property owners under contract and they come back in and they say that, listen, we will put the money up, then we would consider it at that time. But
I guess my question is, why would we do that?
Well, we might not. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I would encourage the council to pass another resolution saying that they're done with DOPCO and either move on or cancel the project in its entirety.
Well, that could happen down the road. As of right now, we're not.
Because right now they're not in compliance with the resolution, and
I get it. I get it.
Mayor, can I just say something? I don't know. Can I be heard, John?
Yes, sir, you're good.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Sir, I've advised that we shouldn't do that. We should not adopt a resolution canceling it for a couple of reasons. First, it would give, as you well know, being an attorney, anyone who wants to file a complaint against a resolution that's adopted by the governing body has to do so within 45 days. That hasn't happened. If we adopt a resolution terminating them, they got another 45 days, and then they will allege there's a COVID-19 issue. That's my right, and so there's no need at this point to wake the sleeping dog. They've not met the conditions. As far as we're concerned, as the mayor just indicated to you, that's it. They've not met the conditions. So,
I guess my question is,
I mean,
how do we put an end to this project?
It hasn't started.
Well, there's still an RFP out there, or there was out there. And I guess what I'm saying is, are we going to proceed with this RFP since there are no other entities looking to do the development, or are we just going to let it hang out there forever?
I'm not sure what you're hanging out there. We advertised for an RFP. We designated a developer with conditions. Apparently that's gone by the boards. At this point, as far as I know, the council hasn't thought about re-advertising for RFPs again. So, yeah.
So it's just going to stay open-ended.
Right now,
I don't know what you.
What's the harm in it being open-ended?
Why did you put dates in the resolution if you're going to leave it open-ended? The whole point of putting dates in the resolution is because you want the person or the entity to act by a certain date. If now we're saying that, we'll wait and see.
Mr. Bonifrisco, let me parallel this with a planning board approval. A planning board approval has conditions. If, for instance, the applicant of a planning board approval doesn't meet the conditions, the planning board doesn't go back and say, oh, we're voiding your application. It's just void, period. They don't have to, the planning board doesn't reaffirm that the conditions weren't met. My fear is that we want to avoid litigation. And if we adopt the resolution, I think it's pricking the boil. And at this point, it's done, it's dead. So there you are.
But can the council, aside from the resolution, can the council right now say they're not?
We probably could, but we're not.
Why is that?
Because we're not. I mean, the timeline is done. I've been in contact with the 3 property owners. They asked us not to do it until they can move this along a little bit. The attorneys are holding it all up. So I said, I said, if you people get under contract, you can come back to us and we'll see where we're at that time. So we're not doing anything right now.
To me, again, it just seems like we're.
I
bending over
I get your
backwards.
point. I know what you want. You want us to do a resolution. We're not going to do it.
Yeah,
That's it.
Seems like we're bending over backwards.
No, we're
to,
not bending
allow
over
this
backwards. That's why I put
developer-
the timeline.
The
That's why I put the
has
timeline
passed.
on it. That's why I told them they had to have the money and they had to do things. We're not bending over backwards for anybody. The days of bending over backwards for developers is gone.
Have they given you the 125,000?
Not as of yet.
Not as of yet. Okay.
We're not passing a resolution, so I got your point.
Thank you.
Thank you. One moment. And hand, stand by. And we have a Donna coming up. Stand by for Donna. Donna, are you there? Donna, are you there?
I think so.
Yep, you are there. Please say your name and where you're from, please.
Donna Asfarm, 10th Avenue.
Yes.
And this is kind of COVID related, but not necessarily. Every year before the season starts, my husband and I attend a council meeting, and we always ask if we could have the ball playing on the beach eliminated. And every year it's a discussion, gonna look into it, well, you know, and nothing ever happens. Or they talk to the lifeguard captains and nobody ever enforces it. Now with the COVID,
We do
and
enforce it.
the 6.
Well, this definitely with this new COVID plan, the pandemic plan that we're putting in place for the beach, there will be no ball playing. No.
Thank you. It's an inconvenience during regular times, but to have to avoid people for 6 feet on each edge and then having guys play ball on top of me, I was just hoping that you guys would do that this season.
Well, we're trying, and we're going to have the task force out there, but there's definitely going to be an order out there that there's no ball playing this year.
I mean, are the lifeguards going to be told about this?
No, we need the lifeguards to watch the water. We're going to have our officers out there.
Okay.
That's going to be part of the order, so we're going to work on that this year.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Donna. Stand by. Okay, stand by. For John Walsh, stand by. Takes a second. John Walsh, are you there, sir?
Hello. Yes, hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, name and where you from.
Great. All right, John, B Street and 11th. All right, I just have a little list here. I know last week I was locked out of the meeting and I joined late. Is this meeting getting locked at some point for people not to be able to join?
I do not have that setting set up, so
Okay.
come on in.
Okay. All right. So maybe that was just my end last meeting. You guys brought up a couple weeks ago about social media and how the Facebook group disappeared. I think everything's been working out fine recently, but there's another Facebook page called Belmar Beach. It's a photographer in town. I think he does great pictures. He posted what the mayor posted on his personal page about parking, and everyone went into a hysteria of, is parking not allowed? Am I going to get a ticket? Is there a way we can verify our official Belmar municipality page, especially right now with misinformation? The Belmar Beach page has 88,000 likes, and our Belmar official page that was run by the town has 10,000. So, I mean, that question is kind of for John, to see if we can get this page verified, because I think that's something that would make us more legit, especially if we're going to be telling people, well, the beach is full, so don't come down.
John, can you answer that question?
Yes, I can. So as of right now, so he has 87,000 followers because he has beautiful pictures.
Yeah, it's great, but I mean, it's just, people get confused. They're like, wait, we can't park in Belmar now, which
right.
obviously wasn't the case.
Right. But on our end, it is hard to verify. I've been in the social media business for about 15 years, and no matter who you are, it is very difficult to verify. So we will look into it. I will talk to the team, and whatever they'd like me to do, we will do. But at this point in time, we'll try to get it verified, but that might take some time.
Okay.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
John. Also, you can always call Borough Hall to ask those questions. There's so
Oh,
much misinformation out there, it's unbelievable.
I agree. I mean, and it's not just me. I mean, there's other people who see it. So like, I can't be then the messenger for everyone else. But
All we got to do is call Borough Hall.
yeah. So then the next thing I wanted to bring up was if we're treating the beach like a business, like we mentioned earlier, is there a way we can require masks on the boardwalk, or at least when you're interacting with the beach staff? I see you're shaking your head, but like we're talking about 80
Tell me what law. Tell me what law that is.
Men who work on the beach.
John,
I didn't say
tell me
it's
what
a
law.
law.
Tell me what law that we can enforce.
I am a resident here. I'm not a lawyer. I am not a legal scholar. I am just bringing up something that's gonna, how can we, infection control? I mean, if we have someone of a certain age that is more susceptible to the virus working on the boardwalk, which they have every right to work, but how can we ensure their safety if the person interacting isn't wearing a mask?
Well, John, that's our number one priority is going to be.
I agree. It should be.
Number one. So whatever we have to do to keep them safe, we are going to do it.
Okay.
Because that is the number one priority for us. And whatever we have to do, if we have to put up shields, whatever we have to do, we're going to make sure we do it.
I mean, you have to wear a face mask at the grocery store. The grocery people are wearing a mask. And so do you have to wear it there. It's a business transaction. That's where it should be. It should be required if you're going to enter the beach. I don't want a tan line of my mask on the beach. I get it. I understand. It's crazy to ask people to wear a mask on the beach, but it should be around their face. And when they go give the ticket or do something near a personnel of a bathroom, they have to wear the mask in the bathroom. Like that, you can't just like pick and choose. And I also want to bring up, which no one has, is our emergency services prepared down here for a type of surge? I mean, I know some people who were on the volunteer squad and they were like, drive your mom to the hospital. I mean, and I'm not.
No, we have a full paid
job,
staff for the summer.
But are we prepared for a type of surge that if there's so many cases down here to get people?
Yeah, no, we're all prepared for that. And we're going to take all your suggestions as we have our meetings and see how we can move forward with that. Of course, you're right, they're going to have masks going in to use the bathroom. So we'll take your suggestions under advisement and we'll see what we can do.
Okay, and then one last thing. I have on the Monmouth County official press release from the county itself, Belmar's at 24. So where are we getting 18 from?
We're getting them from the health department itself to our police department. That's the official one. They're backed up. They don't have enough people in the health department to update that list or in the prosecutor's office. So that is a count that's wrong as of this morning. We have 18. And
okay, if you guys can post more of that, that would be great.
What's that?
If you guys can post more of the accurate numbers, that would be great. Because I mean, I'm looking at this every single day.
We've talked to the county. We're trying to get them to put the correct numbers in, but they have a backlog. So
okay.
All right, and again, just call us at Borough Hall.
Okay, stand by. I think John is on. Okay, stand by. And we have a Ryan. Stand by for Ryan. Ryan, are you there? Stand by. Let's see, he might be on the computer as well. Stand by. On the phone, rather.
Oh, can you hear me now?
There you go. I don't know why it takes forever. Ryan, you're up.
It's my son's computer. It's Randy.
Oh, hey, Randy. Sorry. There you go, Randy.
How are you?
Good.
Hi, Randy.
Hi. 11th Avenue. So I've discussed this with Mayor Walsifer before. So we've been in our houses for a lot of weeks now. I know that we have noise ordinances that prevent neighbors from being noisy and preventing us from living in our houses in peace. But we have an issue next to us where they have a beautiful fire pit, but they light it quite frequently, which prevents me from sitting in my own house or opening my windows. You can't breathe in my house when their fire pit is going. And this happens more than once a week. Discussed it with her neighbors. I mean, there's got to be a way to prevent, prevent a neighbor from ruining it for all of the neighbors around them. It's just crazy.
Do they still have their one on the front porch?
No, the one on the front porch is gone. I yelled at them about that because I'm sure that was illegal. But the one in the back is a permanent fixture. And I understand that everybody has the right to use their own property, but it is affecting all the surrounding properties around it. It just is. I mean, Mark, you smelled it where you live.
I know. All right, I'm going to let Ed, our business administrator, Ed Kirschenbaum, answer that.
Hey, Randy, we're going to get our fire marshal involved. If you can call me tomorrow. Can you call Borough Hall tomorrow?
Sure.
All right, give me a call and then we'll get our fire marshal on that.
Okay, I really appreciate that. Thank you so
Not a
very
problem.
much.
Thank you.
And thanks for doing such a good job. We really appreciate what you've been doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, stand by. Thank you, Randy.
Got it.
Okay, now we have Katrina, stand by. Katrina Klapsis, your mic should come on momentarily. Stand by. All right, Katrina, name and where you're from, please.
Hi, Katrina Klapsis, 1304 B Street. Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Katrina.
Hi, Trina.
First off, I just want to start with very positives. For April, I'd like to congratulate you on your clerk thing. I tell you, you're unbelievable for the town of Belmar, and I'm not alone when I say we all appreciate you. And I wouldn't want your job, no offense, but you do it very well.
Thank you, Katrina.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. Also, I also want to say that I don't envy anybody else up there having to make these decisions that you all are being forced to make. I think you're doing a great job. I'm glad you're reopening the boardwalk because I understand the reason that you closed it. But it is definitely a danger up there. So I'm happy to hear that. And as I think we're all understanding with this dilemma we find ourselves in, things change day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute. And we all have learned to be a little flexible or forced to learn to be a little flexible when it comes to these different issues. So I applaud you all. You're doing a great job. Thank you. I guess my one concern going into the summer, and I had a hard time getting on today for some reason, so I might have missed something. So if you talked about this, please just let me know. I'm thinking about the bar and restaurant situation coming into the summer. Are the decisions about the bars reopening, and I'm really more, I guess, concerned about the bars than I am about the actual restaurants. Is that come from the state government? Yes.
Because
Yes.
the state liquor licenses.
Right. Okay. So you guys don't really have any. Okay. So when and if they do reopen, and of course I'm going to speak specifically about DJs because that's my end of town and I live there. We all know that we have issues with people lining up outside and definitely major crowding and stuff in DJs. And can I assume that that's going to be watched very, very well?
Well, that's if they even have a shot of opening. You know, the way it looks right now, it's not even close. So,
okay.
Been in contact with the governor's office, and I don't see that in any near future.
Okay, anytime soon. And of course, that would be the same for like Bar A. I know Bar A is not in our jurisdiction or anything like that, but more nightclub-y kind of things and restaurants in general. Or are you think more bars versus restaurants? Or again, you don't really know. You don't have any idea.
The only thing that they're telling us out of the governor's office is they could open for takeout only, no seating.
Okay.
So we're still in status quo with takeout.
All right. Okay, and like everything else, I'm sure that could change in 5 minutes, and you'll let us all know.
Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you
let you
all.
know.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Have a good night.
Okay, you too. Thanks.
Bye, Trina.
Okay, thank you. Stand by. And we have a Mia coming up. Mia, stand by.
Hi, it's actually Deborah from Inlet Terrace. It's my daughter's computer as well.
All right, seems all right. Go ahead.
Hi, how are you?
Deborah, can you give us your last name, please?
Polly.
Okay.
And I appreciate your time and everything you've done, your efforts to date to keep the town safe. I have a couple of questions that I just need clarification on. Or what do you know when the executive orders from the governor are going to expire regarding non-essential travel and stay at home?
They're not giving us any indication that they're ending anytime soon, I don't think. Our business administrator and director of code enforcement can bring you up to date on that a little bit better than I can. Ed?
They're not giving us any indication. It's still the hour by hour, day by day for the essential travel ban and the stay-at-home order. So, Deborah, we have no idea. We wait every single day to get information from the governor's office.
And I think the thing with the executive orders, they're in effect while the state, the declaration of the public emergency is in effect. So once that goes, once the governor lifts that, then those executive orders expire, correct?
Well, there are certain aspects of each executive order that they, like the opening of the parks and the golf courses this Saturday with restrictions as part of executive orders and amendments to executive orders. So as they peel it back, that's little by little, that's what they do.
Yeah, they can be handled individually or with the end of the declaration.
That's correct.
Okay, so as far as we're all concerned, we are still under executive order in New Jersey for no essential travel and to stay at home, correct?
That's correct.
And we don't see that lessening up anytime soon.
Not that we know of.
So we're looking at Memorial Day weekend in 2.5 weeks, correct?
Yes.
And we're looking to open up our boardwalk and the beach. And right now we're under executive order to stay at home and have no non-essential travel, correct?
Yes, and an executive order is not a law. That's why I believe I spoke to you on the phone about this. The police can't stop you from traveling on the roadways. They can't stop your national identification. So the governor's executive order, of course, they ask people to adhere to it, and that's why we tried to take the steps that we have taken to limit the influx of people into the borough of Belmar. But there's no law that says that they can't travel, and the governor's own press conferences and briefings, he wants people to get out and have some recreation time. He's also talked about not limiting access to towns just to residents and the beach just to residents. So it's really not a strong executive order. We would love for people to stay at home, but it's the influx of people are going to be here. That's why we have to be ready with, morally, we have to be ready with protection on the beach with lifeguards and control the social distancing with the police officers that we will have on staff, because there was a shortage of police officers due to the academies closing. So as much as I'd like to tell you that executive order is strong, that we can keep people out, it's just realistically, it's very unrealistic.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I would just think that the decisions that our mayor and council are making would be made with this in mind, that the governor feels strongly enough to still have this executive order in force. There must be a reason. I mean, we have all, you and us and the state and the county have access to all the metrics that he's looking at, and they don't look really that promising yet. And that's probably why he hasn't changed his order. So, I mean, I'm just stating for the record, or whoever's listening, that we're making an order we're making a decision despite what the governor is saying on a statewide basis.
That's not correct. The governor's leaving it up to the short towns, and that's why we're meeting collectively, because we understand the influx is going to happen. if it's going to happen, you have to manage it properly. So we have to have plans in place to manage it properly.
I mean, yes, and I don't mean to cut you off, but we all understand that by the mayor going out and giving an interview to various news outlets that we are open is going to be an impetus for people to actually come down here. If we had that, if we actually sent out a press release that says our beaches, our boardwalks, we encourage people not to come down here as per the governor's executive order, it would have a little bit of a dampening effect on that. Common sense would tell you that. Correct? Does that make sense?
I don't.
That doesn't make sense. That if you would go to the press with saying that everything's open and we're going to handle the crowds, that it would be more of an incentive for people to come down here rather than saying everything's going to be closed, because we're still concerned, and New Jersey is one of the biggest hotspots in the world right now.
So you want us to lie?
Why is that a lie?
That's what I'm saying. You want us to lie?
I would never want you to lie.
Okay.
What I would encourage you to do is follow the guidelines of the governor of the state of New Jersey.
What the press asked me is if we are opening and all the towns are opening, they're all opening, and we spoke to all the mayors, because if one doesn't open, the other beaches get too crowded. So they asked me what we were putting in place if we did open. So that's what I went through. If we were going to open, that's what was going to happen.
Okay.
And the governor comes out and says, no, the beaches aren't going to open on Memorial Day. They're not going to open.
I would really love.
Now he's saying that he
Right.
wants the beaches open.
I mean, I understand you. I understand what you're saying. I also have heard throughout this conversation and through the interactions that I've had with Ed, that we're following some of the things that the governor is saying, but we're not following other things that the governor is saying. So I feel like we should either go with the flow and listen to what the governor is saying and don't pick and choose.
Well, if he was strong on his stay at home here, he wouldn't open up the golf courses or all the parks. So obviously he's opening them up, and he's encouraging us to open up our beaches with a plan.
I understand. Okay, I'm gonna take if you don't mind, please indulge me. When you go to the golf courses, and I'm very familiar with this because my husband is an avid golfer. When you go to the golf course, they're actually encouraging, or actually stipulating, twosomes going out. So it's my husband in this case, who's there every day, with one other person 6 feet apart, and they're walking a golf course, as opposed to going on a beach where there's hundreds, if not thousands of people. So it's a totally different scenario. The parks, the same thing. You don't get the same amount of traffic in the parks as you get on a crowded beach, especially Belmar Beach, which is extremely crowded, as you know. I mean, I don't want to debate this with you. I'm just saying it would be nice, from my perspective, if we're going to follow the governor's rulings, let's follow the governor's rulings and don't pick and choose. As far as what we've discussed today, which are actually, did he tell you that you have to open the beaches?
He's encouraging all the towns to open up the beaches.
So he's encouraging that. So that's not a law either, correct, Mayor?
But we're talking with all the other towns, because like I said, if one of us don't open, it puts all the people on other beaches.
And exactly what's going on with Spring Lake right now, and that's exactly what happened to us. Spring Lake's closed, Spring Lake Heights is closed, Seagirt is closed for parking, and it all fell back on us. And last weekend, as far as I know you guys are putting out an effort, and I respect our police department more than you can imagine. They've really helped me out on more than one occasion. They've been the best as far as I'm concerned. Compared to anybody else I've ever dealt with, our police force is number one. I feel like they didn't have the tools that they needed in order to really affect any change last weekend. I mean, we could debate. I don't really want to debate it. I mean, I know you feel like you did the right thing. As far as them going out and trying to figure out who was a resident, who was not a resident without any kind of identification, it was a nice idea, but there was absolutely no way of enforcing that effectively. You could have one. I saw one guy standing there checking license plates. I mean, come on, that's insane. And now we're going to go on the beach, and someone's going to actually visually look to see if a family's there. Okay, a family's there, they're okay. How do you know if it's a family? And then if there's a group of college kids together, oh, well, they're not good because they're all college kids together. We have to make a plan. We have to make enough based on data, and then and then effectively implement that plan. I mean, and I said to Ed, I mean, I'm looking out for the town as much as you are. I could, as you said, I could protect my family. I could say, no, we're going to stay home. We're not going to go out. My daughter, even though she's 20 years old, I'm going to say, no, you're not going to the beach. You're going to stay here and you're going to stay in our backyard. I'm looking out for the good of the town, of our health care. We are not prepared for that. As the governor had said, as he said, we don't have enough beds and ventilators in our hospitals to handle that kind of influx. I know you guys know this. And it's walking an extremely fine line, because I know the implications of not getting the businesses going in this town. It's not a good thing, but we have to figure out how to do it appropriately and not do a quasi plan where we're going to listen to the governor on this. We're not going to listen to the governor on that. I feel like if we said we're going to allow 50% of the people that were on the beach, we're going to allow 25% of the people that were on the beach last year. Maybe we'll only let the people that have seasonal badges on. Is it possible that we could limit or restrict daily badges? Is that a possibility?
Like I said, the plan changes hour by hour. We get to Memorial Day weekend, we might be making those changes. And like you said, I'm not going to sit here and debate you. We have tough decisions to make. We listen to the governors, we listen to the freeholders. We're trying to do this together. We're trying to spread people out. And like you said, I'm not going to sit up here and debate you.
No, I mean, that's not my, I just want to let
I
you know.
take your points and we make the decisions as we're going. We tried to deter people from coming into town, but the minute that sun came out, everything was off the table. These people came. So now we have to move into a different direction and really concentrate on social distancing. That's what we could do.
With due respect.
Made it clear we can't deter people from coming into town. We can't stop them from coming into town. Believe me, I would love to close the town down, but we can't do it.
You know, and I don't even think that that's necessary to close the town. I think that if we tried to set up a very well planned out, like saying we're going to open X amount of stores this weekend, we're going to have X amount of people out on the beach, rather than saying we're just going to be very loose about it and just monitor it and then pull people back. I mean, to me, that doesn't even make sense. How would you go to the beach and pull people back after monitoring that it was too crowded? What, are you going to group people up and say, all right, you guys now have to get off the beach?
No, we're going to stop people from coming on the beach. When we determine that it's not safe, social distancing safe, we're closing it down. Nobody else is going to get on.
Okay, what about this past weekend when I saw lines in front of Playa Bowls and I saw lines in front of the other food places? People were not social distancing and they did not have masks on. I didn't see anybody stopping that.
Oh, yes, we did. We were there.
Okay, well, then you have to station, basically what you're saying, Mayor, is then you'll have to station a person, a police officer or somebody at all of those places to make sure that that's happening.
No, we're not.
Happening.
We told them once. And if he didn't get people out there to social distance, we were going to close them down. That's what the police department did.
Okay.
So he had people out there making sure his customers were social distancing.
Right. And I just want to also I mean, I'm not going to take you much longer. One more comment. I just want to comment on what Alexis was saying, that she was saying basically Belmar has a very low infection rate right now. And yes, that's correct. Whether it's 200, 300, I mean, if you have 4 people and you double it, it's going to be 100% increase. That's not accurate because we don't know how many people in Belmar are infected because people have not been tested. What we do know is, however, the infection rate and the amount of people dying in New York and North Jersey. And those are the people that are going to be coming down here. So logic tells you that when we open this beach up and we have all these people down here, we're getting people from other areas that are going to come down here. And if it doesn't affect our infection rate, it will be a miracle. So I'll pray for a miracle, I guess, because that's what it will take. Does that make sense? Am I wrong on that?
Thank you for your comments. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I said I'm not going to argue with you anymore. So you have your opinions, and we have a team in place that are going to implement our plan.
Right. Okay. And you know what? Actually, I tried to, when I was going to speak with you, I was going to speak with you and say they were not my opinions. Most of the things that I've said here right now are facts, and it's not only for me and my family, it's for the whole community. So I thank you for your efforts, and I really hope that we do more than monitor for Memorial Day weekend, because I think we need to have an effective plan put into place that's ironclad and not like, let's monitor and then stop. I think we look at numbers from years past and say, at this point, we're going to stop issuing daily tickets for the beach. But also, I would encourage you, and I will say one more time, to follow the instructions in the executive orders from the governor of New Jersey. I think he knows what he's talking about at this point. And I thank you for your time, and I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I don't think that this is gonna maybe, this last caller obviously has a lot of frustrations with the governor and the executive order, as do I. And I have the executive order up in front of me, and it says that New Jersey residents shall remain at home or their place of residence, and they are, unless they are, and there's 9 exemptions. And one of those exemptions is for walking, running, or engaging in outdoor activities. And that's what creates the challenge for us when it comes to opening the beach. And the governor didn't want to make the decision himself as to whether municipalities could have beaches open or not. He left it up to the municipality, and we have an executive order that has conflicting language in it that puts us, in a situation. So, we need to do the best we can to put a firm plan in place, which obviously our Office of Emergency Management is doing, to keep us safe so that we can open up on Memorial Day weekend with semblance and order.
Yeah, Jim, you're correct. It is, when they leave half of it up to the municipalities, it's tough. John, anybody else?
Stand by. Maria, thank you for waiting. Stand by. Hitting the button, unmuting.
Can you hear me?
Maria, go ahead. Say your name, where you're from, please.
Hi, this is Maria Rontanaro, 1246 Pine Tree Way.
Hi, Maria.
Hi. I just wanted, there were a few points and questions that I had. Something that I continue to hear that I like, and actually, Jim, I think you were the first one to make mention of it, is knowing if there's an amount of people that we actually can have as a cap to our beach. I think that's important information for us in order to execute a plan and to know when we're really too full. When people are being being 6 feet away is extremely important at this point. I mean, that's something that I hear all of you saying, that you believe in social distancing. There's questions about whether everyone, believes in having masks outdoors or not. But the social distancing part is extremely important. Additionally, I know you have that task force in place, but I'm concerned about taking action prior to a plan, really detailed, comprehensive plan being given to, not only the press, because I did see a little plan on NJ.com, but that we have, the code red calls or whatever those calls are, where each resident is being told, and not just by social media, but that they are actually being contacted as to that plan. And that would be something I think is extremely important as well. I'm worried about the boardwalk being open for walkers and runners. I understand the concern of the street as well. I don't have an answer for the street, but I think we're going to have a lot of people from New York and north who want to walk on our boardwalk. It's a gorgeous boardwalk, the best boardwalk in the area, and they're going to come down for it. And I don't think we're prepared, especially if we're not going to enforce mask use on our boardwalk. I don't think that we're prepared to make that step, being that our boardwalk is just not big enough, unless we're going to have someone who stops someone every single time they go less than 6 feet away from the other person. I don't know how we can enforce that. So that's something that I'm really concerned about. And then I had a question as well about the bike racks. Can you explain to me? So the bike racks won't be on the boardwalk, neither will the benches. I think that's a wonderful idea. Where can you park your bike if you're not driving down to the beach or walking?
We're going to allow the bike racks to stay on the boardwalk.
Oh, they're going to allow them to stay on the boardwalk?
Yeah, the bike racks will be on the boardwalk. No riding on the boardwalk, though. No riding their bikes on the boardwalk.
Oh, I misunderstood that. Okay. So then I guess we need to have perhaps a plan, since will be a high zone touch place, similar to the playgrounds. I mean, I know every day I get begged for the playgrounds, and I explain it as just this. I'm sorry, sweetheart, we can't have that because you're touching an area where someone else has just touched, and that's, right now in our situation, it's dangerous. So I'm just curious as to how we can safely bring our beach, into use. And I would really hope that we have a limit on how many people we allow on the beach, and also that maybe they need to have like a stake in the sand or whatever of how many, where you can put down your stuff. This is new times that we're dealing with. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Stand by.
Oh, can I have one? I have one more question.
Yep, just got it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, as far as the calls, the robo calls or the code red calls, has that been used at all since this COVID-19? And because I have not received any.
We have been using them. The issue that we're having is we have to be careful putting them out because, like we said, things are changing daily. So we don't want to put something out that's not the case. So if they're saying, well, probably this or probably that, we're not putting that out until we know it's set in stone, because they're changing that fast. Just like I said, the governor could come out tomorrow and say, you know what, we decided the beaches are going to be closed. And that, so we put everything out tonight, and now it's not factual. So they're on the phone with tomorrow, and they want to know what everybody's plan is, and then he's going to make a decision. The governor will make a decision on how collectively he would want the beaches operating, whether it's half the daily badges, whatever plan that he thinks that he's going to come up with, and we're waiting for that plan. He told us he would have it in 10 days. So everything we're talking about tonight could change immediately. So
I recognize that, and I, thank you for staying up to date on, what it is that he is asking of us and the statistics. If that can be related to us from you, either on a daily or a weekly basis, that I feel would be helpful for me, but also for the folks on my block who aren't always on social media, aren't finding their information in different places. We need more communication and that's from my end,
Okay.
trying to help us out. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, stand by. And we have a Mike, stand by. Mike Martucci, you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Please say your name and where you're from, please.
Mike from 1100 Ocean Avenue.
All right.
Go ahead, Mike.
Good evening, everyone. So I came across a document from a separate jurisdiction in Manasquan, and though you mentioned that things change daily, my concern is in regards to the idea that they're allowing rentals to go Memorial Day weekend, but have a ban on groups of 10 or more people. Myself, along with many other friends and some other renters throughout the Belmar community, are renting out houses that actually have more than 10 people. How will this be addressed, or do we have no choice but to give up the rental?
Well, the rental can have as many as legally, whatever the occupancy is legally. So the rental could have whatever you have in there. It's the question is going to be, if you're coming down here to have parties on the front lawn and everything, now you're going to have problems with social distancing, and then we'll be issuing summonses. So it all depends. If you come down here and you're holding the line on what the occupancy is, then you wouldn't have a problem.
Okay, so as it stands, rentals for Memorial Day weekend would be, the contracts will be honored, and it'll just be up to us and the town to just regulate and make sure things aren't getting too out of control.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate everything.
Okay.
Okay, stand by. Looks like we have, oh, is this a standby? 1 second. 1 second. I see Ryan again, but not Ryan. And I want to give someone else a turn first. Stand by. And we got Karen. Karen, stand by for Karen.
Hi,
Karen there.
Karen Grau, 116 14th Avenue. I'd like to first thank and congratulate April. Ever since we built our house in 2012 and all through the years, she's always kind, informative, and just want to extend my appreciation. And also, these meetings are great. Mayor, you answered a couple of my questions with the last commentator about my favorite topic, overcrowded summer rentals, which I bring up every Zoom meeting. So you did say that you will be watching the congregations on front lawns. That's what I'm really concerned about. And also regarding the other comments that we've heard tonight, I listened very carefully to Governor Murphy as much as possible. And to people that maybe don't, he is very vague on what to do about the Jersey Shore, because I listen for guidance. I'm very concerned, just like everyone else. I don't want to get the disease. I don't want to be in danger. But he's very specific about very other parts of the state. And then once it gets to the Jersey Shore, it's like whatever. So I think everyone has to keep that in mind, that I think you're all doing whatever you can to follow guidelines, but there really aren't any. I do think some of the comments about maybe masks on the boardwalk might be a good idea to keep the staff and people walking, not requiring it on the beach or walking around the town. But that might be something that, if you're approaching an attendant or a town official, maybe you should have a mask to put on. But other than that, again, I'm glad that you will be concerned about the crowding on the lawns. I think that's the biggest problem in the summer for me. And again, also everyone has to realize the governor is vague on the Jersey Shore, even though I think he's doing a great job with the state. I'm very happy, but that's the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Aaron, as far as the mask go, we would love for everybody to wear a mask. We're going to have our employees wear them. The bathrooms are key. Like the mayor said, we're going to look at everything as we meet. But we also have to remember that you have to have some kind of law to back it up. And if
right,
a law, it's tough to enforce it with everybody. We would love everybody to wear a mask to be safe and to be responsible. But of course, there's a lot of people that really don't care about others. So we're trying to do the best we can with the laws that are out there. So we'll look through that once we sit down with our task force.
I wouldn't think it would be a law, but maybe more of a suggestion. I know my daughter lives in North Jersey, and she's shocked at how people down here just don't take it seriously. And everyone up north in her town, Hoboken, wears the mask because they had such an outbreak of the disease. Again, you can't have a law, but maybe we could put it on the sign with no dogs, masks appreciated, something like that.
We can do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, stand by. I'm just making a note. And we have Mark. Do we have a Mark? Stand by. Just hit the button. Should take a minute. And Mark, the ski goggles. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening. Mark Presto, 110 13th Ave. So, Mayor, you mentioned that if a rental unit could have, say, 10 people, but then you see in their backyard or on the porch, they have 20 people. Is that a violation?
Yes,
So it's not to sleep overnight, so they can't have a party of more than what the rental unit can sleep.
correct.
That's good.
Because we're going to be watching that very close this year, because with all the bars being closed,
Absolutely.
stores are open, and you can just use your imagination when the groups come down. Our police department is going to have a little bit of a issue to deal with.
So how will that be communicated to the renters? I guess in turn, it would have to be the owners of the rental units have to know that and pass that on, correct?
Yeah, correct. And as they pick up their certificate of occupancies, they're going to be explaining that to them. But, of course, sometimes they come down here and they think they're in a different world than where they live. So, but that's going to be part of our task force planning.
Mm-hmm. And I think as long as neighbors of those rental units understand the rules, they can make a call to the police department and say, hey, there's 30 people in the backyard.
Yeah, and we hope that they do. So, if the police department don't see it, at least somebody's calling in and we can deal with that situation.
And speaking about communications, I think it's great. You say just call in because things change every minute. But couldn't there be something posted on the Belmar website, sort of a summary of these are the rules. We're going to open, like I learned today, we're going to open up the boardwalk. We're opening up the beach for Memorial Day when we thought it was going to be after June 1st. I think it would save maybe a lot of calls going in and emails to you. And because I see all the social media and people don't understand. They say, well, we just should close a town and nobody but Belmar residents can use the beach. So I think if things were explained on belmar.com in some sort of summary fashion, it might be helpful.
Yeah, we're going to do that. This plan is evolving. By the time we get to Memorial Day weekend, we should have it all tied down, and then we can put it all out.
Very good. Thank you for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. One moment. And we have let's try Tom. Tom, we're going to try you again, see if you go through. If not, we'll fix it for next time for sure. Hold on, stand by. Tom. Let's see here.
Okay, can you hear me?
Hey, there he is.
There we go. Hi, Tom.
Thanks a lot, guys, for all your hard work.
Thank you, Tom.
Really appreciate it. The question I have, I didn't hear anything as to what was being done on the showers on the beach, unless I missed something when Ed was talking. I might have missed that. Can you tell me what you think you're going to do about the showers on the beach?
Right now, I believe DPW are putting them up. But that'll be something that we have to talk about, because that's one of those things that you have to touch. And so it's going to be cleaned frequently or, so we're not sure. I got to talk to our DPW director, Mr. Campbell, to find out, what if we turn him on or not.
Is he really called the miracle worker?
He is.
Oh, okay. I just making sure. I thought that was the case.
Poor Mike. Well, we put him through.
We're concerned on 8th Avenue with the noise ordinance and the enforcement of it. And I think you've been doing, the police department's been doing a nice job. We've had a couple of those crazy, what do they call them, pop-ups? And, I think we were effective with ticketing. But I'm just wondering, the motorcycles are a problem. Thank you for shutting off 8th Avenue at the third. I know you didn't do it on purpose. It's
helpful right now.
The work, it's helpful right now. That's right. But how easy is it to enforce an ordinance on a car or a bicycle? Do you have to be right there? Do you have a gauge that you use? Is that the way it works?
Well, as long as the officer's witnessing it, then and it's loud. Yeah, and motorcycles actually do get noise tickets.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I know we have a lot of them that go by, but they do get them.
I do like the look of motorcycles, but when they're breaking my eardrums, I'm an old guy and I got old eardrums. Okay, that's all I had. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. Everyone
Yes.
said thank you.
You're welcome.
There you go. And okay, we are going to try. Here we go. And Erica. Erica, are you there? Stand by. Stand by. Erica.
Hello.
Yes, please say your name, where you're from, please.
My name is Erica Wortman. I'm from 200 18th Avenue.
Okay, go ahead.
And I just had a question. Hi. Where we are, we have the barricades up right now, saying the resident parking. If that is, now not legal or something we had discussed earlier, are they going to be taken away?
Our business administrator is shaking his head. Let him answer.
What we're going to do is, they're ineffective, people removing them. Again, it's a legality issue in regards to what rights we have. The reason why Spring Lake and Spring Lake Heights can do it is they're banning all parking to the residents as well as anybody else. So that's not illegal. We're going to probably, once we meet and convene about what's going to happen with the boardwalk and the parking on Ocean Avenue, we're going to remove those barrels. And we can't restrict the parking any longer.
Okay. Yeah, because this weekend, it was great. We loved it. Saturday, there was hardly anyone parking down here. The cops were around all day, but Sunday, it was like, Memorial Day weekend kind of.
Right.
There was no one around. Right. And when I saw one cop, I said, is there anything we could do? And he just said, you don't know who's a resident and who's not a resident. So I was just wondering, because I don't want to be, the crazy lady yelling at people that they shouldn't be parking there if it's not necessary.
Right. We want to make sure that you're not yelling at people, but we do encourage you to call the police department. We're going to probably remove the barrels within the next couple of days once we meet again tomorrow. But if you see parking issues, if you see illegally parked cars or any problems, rather than yelling, just give us the police department a call.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Erica.
Okay, stand by. I think that might be it. And I see no more hands.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We have to, we're going to go into closed session, April?
Yes. First, can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a resolution authorizing executive session, whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas there is adequate notice to the public of this meeting, and whereas the Borough Council is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, now therefore be it resolved by the Borough Council as follows: the public shall be excluded from discussion and action upon the hereinafter specified subject matter. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is pending litigation and contract negotiations. Minutes will be kept of the closed session. It is anticipated at this time that the above subject matter will be made public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. This resolution shall take effect immediately. Do you have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion, but are we going to come out and do any action?
Yep, I'm going to go over that next.
Second.
Do we have a second?
Second.
And Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
Councilman McCracken?
Yes.
Councilman Wan?
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Okay, so what is going to happen is John Sabia is going to leave this meeting on, but pause the recording. We and all of us will leave and rejoin the other Zoom link that I sent out. And then we will have our closed session. And then when we're done, we'll exit that and come back into this meeting to finish out the resolutions that we have.
Okay, thank
So
you.
anyone from the
Coming
public
back.
wants to wait, we'll be back. I have a motion to approve resolution 2020-109.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay, Councilman Carvelli,
Yes.
Councilman Brennan,
Yes.
Councilman McCracken,
Yes.
Councilman Juan,
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer.
Yes.
You're on.
Yes.
And then can I have a motion to approve resolution 2020-110?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Councilman Carvelli,
Yes.
Councilman Brennan,
Yes.
Councilman McCracken,
Yes.
Councilwoman Juan,
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer.
Yes.
Okay, and then everything else? We're good?
Nope, that's
All
it.
right, a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Motion.
All
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone.
All right, thank
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Have a
All
good
right,
night.
see y'all later.